Hey, what's up YouTube? TDNRider here, coming at you with a deck profile. This is my second version of my vampire zombie deck, and if you missed the first version, go check it out. In this build I focused more on the vampire engine instead of the endless decay. I will also explain my card choices, and please tell me if you disagree with a choice I made, and feel free to give me a feedback and suggestions. Dual videos of this deck are coming, so you just have to wait a little bit for them. So without any further ado, let's get into it. I'm running 3 copies of Vampire Sorcerer. This is pretty much a Sengen for your vampire cards, also spell and traps, and yeah. And most of the time you're searching for this card over here, Vampire Shift, but I will get on that later on. So it's a really good card, it's a floater, and with the field out it has 2000 attack, and that's really good. Well, but is there any other 2000 attack floater on the field which can also search for spell and traps? I don't think so. So it's really good. Then the boss monster, 2 Vampire Genesis. This is just an additional card. You don't like necessarily have to run, but it is still decent. It's also like a built-in Monster Reborn. Then 2 copies of Vampire Grace. 2 copies are totally enough. You won't summon 3, and you can also only summon once by its own effect per turn. So 2 are really enough. What you want to do is like you want to dump it in your graveyard as soon as possible, and then you can like summon it later on. So it's really good. Then 2 Vampire Lord, because we're running the Vampire Genesis engine, and it's also a +1 with the field spell, but I will explain that later on. And then we have 2 Shadow Vampire. This is pretty much a tour guide, a level 5 tour guide. It can bring out any vampire monster from your deck, and yeah, it's really good. As you see, it's level 5, but Vampire Sorcerer also has the effect that you can banish it from your graveyard, and then you can normal summon a monster without tributing. So that's really good. So you can just normal summon it without tribute. So really good. And then we're running 2 real tour guides. Just a decent engine because you banish your cards like Vampire Sorcerer, Mitsuki, and other cards like with Dark-Armed Dragon, and you can just bring them back really. And first turn you can go like into a Sandmains or something, set your Tarantula, and you're pretty good to go. And then for the zombie engine, we're running triple Zombie Master, a really good card, just have to run it. And 1 Mitsuki speeds up the deck so much, I would run it even at 3 if we could, but it's at 1. 2 Goblin Zombie, a floater, almost another Sengen. You can just add a zombie type monster with 1200 or less defense from deck to your hand. And as you pretty much know, pretty much all of the zombie types do have really low defense. So yeah, you can pretty much search your entire deck. And then 2 Pyramid Turtle. This is a pretty decent tech card, just another floater, and yeah, really good. And then since we're running 18 Dark Monster, we're also running Dark-Armed Dragon. It's really good, and it has a pretty decent synergy with Tour Guide, and yeah. Then 1 Allure of Darkness as well in combination with Tour Guide, really good, and yeah, just a draw engine. Then Book of Life. Book of Life makes this deck pretty good. You gotta run 3. It's like you're running 4 Monster Reborn in this deck really. And also you can like hinder your opponent from going off. If you play like Dark Worlds, you can banish your opponent's Grapha and like just slow them down. So it's really good. Then Monster Reborn, pretty much gotta run it. Then 1 Recurring Nightmare, as it's pretty much a salvage, and you have 5, I guess, yeah, 5 targets, your Zombie Master and your Shadow Vampire, and it's actually fairly easy to set up your graveyard, so 1 copy is good, 2 yeah, would also work, but 3 is too much, so I choose to run 1. Then a Foolish Burial, you can dump your Mitsuki, your Vampire Sorcerer, and your Grace, and just go from there, it's really good. The Heavy Storm, the staple, 2 MSTs, not that bad. 2 Vampire Empire, this is a really good card, I will read its effect. A zombie type monster gain 500 attack during damage calculation only, so that's actually really a really good effect. And then it goes further. Once per turn, when a card is sent from your opponent's deck to the graveyard, send 1 Dark Vampire monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, aka Vampire Grace or Sorcerer. Then target 1 card on the field and destroy it. So it's a +1, and in combination with Vampire Lord, when it inflicts spell damage, you can declare one card type, and your opponent has to send that type from their deck to the graveyard, so you can inflict damage and then pop a card your opponent controls, which is really good. And it also gains 500 attack, so it's really good. And then for traps, you're running 2 Vampire Shift. It brings out your field spell. It is also searchable, and it not only brings out your field spell, it also, when you do that, you can special summon 1 vampire monster from a graveyard, which is really good. So yeah, it's just a +1 and it is searchable. And then for other traps, we're running 2 Torrential, because like Goblin Zombie, Sand Mains, brought out by Tour Guide, and other cards just are there, and you just don't always play that aggressive, so it's really good. And then the Solemn Duo just there, it's really good. In the extra deck here we have 2 Vampire Bram, the Ritter. This is a really good card, I guess you already heard of it, so gotta run it. 1 Consular Polyme M7, this is the only levels rank 6. It's not that bad, it's actually really good, and yeah. Then 1 Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger. Your Ritter is just there, and if it gets destroyed, you can summon it back in defense position, so you can attack, but you can overlay for Gaia Dragon and then go for attack, which is pretty decent. It's also a Pierce, so yeah, really good. Then 1 Arduous Keeper of Amardagon, and the Vampire Tour Guide there has the downside that other monster you control cannot attack, and it can only be used for an XYZ summon of a Dark type monster. A Dark Attribute monster, I'm sorry, and Arduous is one, the Ritter as well, and yeah, just another target for it. Then for level 4s we have an Utopia, Master Keybeal, Diamond Direwolf, Lavalval Chain, Black Ship of Corn, Gagaga Cowboy, a Mestoke, the Symphony Djinn, and for level 3s, rank 3s, we're running 1 Levier the Sea Dragon, a Sam Mains, and a Leviathan Dragon. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile, so yeah, have a nice day, TDNRider signing out.